Come closer, get an intimate glimpse at the extraordinary wealth of Georgetown, Penang. Home to a vibrant legacy that spans over 200 years and continues to thrive today, where an amazing profusion of unique architecture and a dazzling kaleidoscope of colors and customs culminate to present a distinct multicultural living heritage that earned this historic port settlement the prestigious UNESCO World Heritage status in 2008. An honor that is proudly safeguarded and nurtured by Georgetown World Heritage Incorporated. Spurred by an increasing growth of international commerce, adventurous fortune seekers set sail to the Southeast Asian region, making their way across the oceans and seas from the west and the far east as they traversed the famed spice route, lured by the lucrative riches promised by the spice trade. Thanks to its strategic location along the Straits of Malacca, Penang Island was an ideal stopover for traders and captured the attention of the British, who, in the late 18th century, sent merchant trader Captain Francis Light to establish the East India Company's trade presence in the region. Light officially took possession of the island in 1786, christening it the Prince of Wales Island, and established Fort Cornwallis as its administrative centre. The fort became the backbone of the development that would soon follow, leading to the formation of Georgetown, named after the British King George III. Georgetown prospered tremendously as a busy entrepôt, bustling with merchants of various nationalities, including the Europeans, Arabs, Indians, and Chinese, who peddled and traded wares that, aside from spices, also encompassed many other items, such as silk and porcelain from China, textiles from Gujarat, tin from Perak, and gold from Sumatra. Georgetown enjoyed a trade boom for over a century, and with the arrival of the 20th century, had become a well-known world trade center. This contributed to the further development of the city port, including the introduction of utilities and transportation. Today, the legacy of this historical port settlement still prevails, accented by the dynamic daily activities of retail and wholesale traders, who continue to hawk their various merchandise that are distinct to their respective cultures, facilitating an ongoing propagation of intercultural exchanges. This further cements Georgetown's unique status as an exemplary heritage trading port in the region that continues to live on, while still upholding the city's role as a center of regional exchange. Thanks to its role as a thriving port city through the ages, Georgetown blossomed as a convergence point for diverse communities, where the melodious chant of a call to prayer still reverberates centuries later. And just around the corner, the magnificent charm of one of Penang's oldest Hindu temples beckons. A few blocks away stands Southeast Asia's oldest Anglican church, where we hear the whispers of devotees' hopes and wishes, praying for peace. While farther down, one of the oldest Chinese temples continues to stand proud. 4 major beliefs converging at one street, reflecting the region's unique religious pluralism and tolerance. The rainbow colors of diversity are celebrated joyously along the streets in a parade of harmony and festivity in the open air, a display of graceful prowess an absolute faith in temples before the deities, amidst a profusion of grandeur, living out a culture within the simplicity of everyday routine and relaxation after a hard day's work. Oblivious to the winds of change, this group of artisans can still be found around the city, unwavering in their passion for their trades that have been handed down from father to son to grandson, offering a vibrant display of the vivid sights, sounds and smells of life that shape the city's unique character, a fluid showcase of living heritage at its best. Reflecting this diversity is the myriad of food readily available here, where there is always someone cooking up a storm with a burst of flavors that are sure to tantalize even the most discerning of taste buds, sealing the city's reputation as a coveted gastronomic utopia. Mouth-watering tastes and unique flavors proliferate at every street corner, savored by people of all ages, generation after generation. Day and night, a delectable analogy that echoes the legacy of Georgetown, resulting from cultures that cross and overlap as various communities intermingle in close proximity, sharing beliefs, customs, foods, and friendships. There is nowhere else in the region where you can find such an outstanding assortment of historic heritage buildings than in Georgetown, Penang's administrative hub since the late 18th century when the British first set foot here. Buildings that were erected to meet the port settlement's administrative needs then have today become integral monuments of the state's administrative legacy. A predominantly European influence can be seen in the architecture of the heritage buildings in the area. Classic examples of primarily British colonial features, restored to their former glory, are evident in the town hall, the oldest municipal building in the state today. City Hall, that was built at the turn of the 20th century, an excellent relic of British Palladian architecture. The State Assembly Building, formerly a magistrate court based on classical-style architecture, and the Supreme Court Building, an exemplary straight settlement public building that was constructed in the early 20th century. The nearby Beach Street flourished as a commercial hub and was soon dotted with commercial buildings and centers that were established in response to the proliferation of trading activities in the area. From the splendor of the HSBC building, one of the first that was reconstructed after the Second World War, and the Standard Chartered Building, to the 110-year-old Whiteaways block that housed one of Penang's first departmental stores, the Indian Art Deco India House, and the modern-era post office building. The earliest buildings in Georgetown comprised rows of shop houses built on either side of the narrow streets, functioning as commercial and residential spaces. Penang's booming prosperity and growing socio-economic needs attracted traders and foreign labor from far and wide, seeking better fortune. As communities grew richer, Georgetown developed distinct settlement areas. Some affluent families constructed fully residential and gated townhouses, which even featured little gardens. Typically double-story terraced buildings, these homes possessed a distinct interior layout, encompassing a living room, dining room, open air well, and kitchen on the ground floor. Another component of Georgetown's architectural heritage is the distinct compound house, an enclosed settlement within which living communities are united by similar geographical backgrounds. One such compound house is the Achin Street Mosque complex, enclosed by a row of shophouses and a wall. This complex was founded by Tengku Said Hussein Al-Idid. Within the complex is one of the oldest Malay mosques, an architectural hybrid of Moorish and Oriental elements, Indo-Malay and Anglo-Indian urban bungalows, and a family mausoleum. Another example of a compound house is the Chinese clan complex. The most well-known is the magnificently elaborate Kukongsi enclave that resembles a Chinese clan village. Surrounded by shophouses on all sides, the interior of the complex is only accessible via an old carriageway entrance. Tucked away from the hustle and bustle of city life, within its compound are rows of residential homes that were originally occupied by clan members, an association building, and ancestral hall. Central to the complex is the intricate temple, fronted by a granite-paved courtyard and Chinese opera stage. The thriving entrepot of Georgetown also attracted coastal clan communities from southern China who headed over to labor as port coolies. This heralded the formation of the unique water villages or clan jetties at Weld Quay. Built on stilts, the water villages comprise rows of wooden houses that are connected by plank walkways. Each of the jetties was settled by and named after Chinese clans, whose residents transferred goods to and fro, from ships to land using sampans. Among the numerous clan jetties still in existence presently, the most prominent is the Chu Jetty. Today, over a century later, these settlements, relatively untouched by time, enchant outsiders with their old world charm. The grandeur of Georgetown's architectural heritage culminates in the jewels which were painstakingly built by rich merchants. From the Straits' eclectic mansion of Said Alatas to the elegant Chinese courtyard mansion of Chong Fat Zi and the beautiful Italianate design villa of Leong Yin Kian, these magnificent bungalows in the city reconfirm the presence of the diverse population that found its home in Georgetown.